Hey there, and welcome back to Crystal Talks. It's Katie and Cynthia here. We are bringing a really cool episode today talking about creativity crystals. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future episodes. We're here every week with a new video talking about crystals, intentions around crystals, chakra healing, essential oils, all kinds of fun stuff. So just don't miss us. Hit subscribe. Back to today. Creativity crystals. Creativity is this really great energy. And I feel like sometimes we are trying so hard to access that creativity and we just can't find it. And that's because the energy of creativity is a freedom-based energy. It thrives on flow, meaning it cannot be forced. You cannot force that creativity to flow because when you're trying to force it, you are blocking the flow. It's an energy that ebbs and flows. It moves, and we must allow the cycle to unfold naturally for creativity to move us. There are always going to be high creative moments where we can feel that creativity flowing, right? And then it's going to be followed by rest and refreshed moments. So when you find that creativity blocked, it's really important to remember that. Are you allowing that refresh to happen? Are you allowing that rest to happen so that the energy can refill and the creativity can flow, right? The energy asks you to remain open and to be curious. Be curious. Even in those moments when you feel you're blocked, maybe you're not blocked. It's just not showing up in the way you expected or you thought it would or it should, right? So be curious, be open. Creativity builds connection and inspiration through the art, through the stories, through the creation. If it's something you're writing, if it's a painting you're painting, if it's a card deck you're creating, if it's a meal you're making, if it's a garden you're designing, if it's a home, whatever it is, right? It creates that connection and inspiration. Being in the energy of creativity is like having a conversation with intuition, with inspiration, with the subconscious mind, right? It's this flowing, moving conversation. And you must move with the flow of creative energy and not control it. It's not about control. It's about moving with the flow of it, right? So it's this really beautiful energy that I almost think of music as I'm talking about it, right? Like it's just like if you look at sound waves as they move and they move all over the place like this, right? It's this constant moving energy and we have to allow it to move or else it gets blocked. So Cynthia, tell us why creativity matters.
Oh my, so many different ways. It's the very foundation of innovation, our self-expression, our personal growth. When our creative energy flows freely, we feel more inspired, more confident, more motivated to pursue our passions. Um, it's really, creativity and different ways of looking, different perspectives. All of that comes in, to me, it's the very foundation of finding yourself, because you can't follow anybody else's path. You can't follow, here, I'm going to say it again, you can't follow those rules and find out what you were really meant to do, really meant to be. And we put together this crystal set to help awaken that inspiration, that sort of intuition, and remove the fears and doubts that may be blocking your creative potential. That I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. All of those things can block your creativity. So this set of crystals that we're going to talk about that we created, and you'll find them on ewbms.com, is meant to help support that creative inspiration.
Love that. And we're going to jump into the crystals. But before we jump into the crystals, I want to share some words, some affirmations that can really support that flow of creativity, right? So here are a few. I move in creative flow, right? This one is supporting that movement in the creative flow, being with the flow of creativity. Another one, I create with joy, freedom, and confidence. Stepping into that energy of joy and freedom and confidence really supports you to stay in the flow and not question it, not second guess it, right? So, really great words to support that creative energy. My imagination is limitless and I trust in its power, opening you up to the infinite possibility that is out there within your own creativity. I give myself permission to create without judgment. Judgment is one of those big things that blocks us. Judgment is like when we think it should be this way or it shouldn't be that way, and how that all comes up. And so these words really support you in letting go of those judgments and just being in that creativity, letting it unfold in its own natural way. I release fear and embrace curiosity in my creative work. There's that curiosity, kind of opening up to be curious, to not be afraid of how that creativity shows up, but instead to be curious and explore it and ask questions and get into it, move with it, right? Last one, mistakes are a part of the process. They guide me toward breakthroughs. A lot of times what we call mistakes or we feel is a failure is really just a breakthrough. It's a breakdown to break through, right? So using that affirmation to really support you in embracing any mistakes that you make, because they're only a mistake because you called it a mistake, because you labeled it as a mistake, right? And kind of pushing past that label and just kind of be open to the breakthrough that's coming. So really great words to pair and use with that creative energy. What are some crystals that we can use to access creative energy to support us to be in that flow of creative energy, Cynthia?
Well, we put 6 together in the set. Carnelian is at the top of the list. It's the ultimate stone of motivation, creativity. It fuels passion, confidence, and artistic expression. It also is a good one for helping overcome those creative blocks. Amethyst. Amethyst is going to get you in touch with your intuition, which can help guide you toward your creative expression. It also enhances your imagination, your mental clarity, and that spiritual inspiration. Citrine is a crystal of joy and manifestation. It attracts creative energy, supports motivation, and also supports success in artistic and entrepreneurial pursuits. Fourth is clear quartz. It's the master healer, but it's also the master amplifier. It enhances our focus and it magnifies the energy of the other crystals, making it perfect to support your creative breakthroughs. Lapis Lazuli, it's known as the stone of wisdom. So you're going to tap into that wisdom that you hold within you. It enhances deep thinking, communication, and the expression of original ideas, creativity. And then Sodalite is the 6th stone. It's a stone of insight and mental clarity. It balances your intuition with your logic, which helps you articulate and bring those creative visions that come to you to life. So I think if you look through this set of stones, you can see how they really support each other and your creativity and your creative expression. But if you'd like some ways to use those, I think Katie can give you some guidance on that one.
So, as always, you want to trust your intuition, right? How are you being called to use these stones for your creative pursuits? Trust your intuition. I'm going to give you some different examples of ways you can use them. Use them how you feel called to. Really, really important to trust your intuition and let it flow, right? We're talking a lot about flow, creativity and intuition flow together. So anyway, great way is to meditate and visualize with the crystals, right? So if you set up a space and you put the crystals around you while you're meditating, or you hold them in your hands, or you place them on your chakras, whatever it might be, in whatever way works for you, using those crystals as you meditate and you visualize, that creative energy flowing through you, or maybe you visualize the project that's unfolding, or you connect to your intention, whatever it might be. Another great way to use them is to create a crystal grid. Create a grid with, and charge it with your intention of creative flow, of creative energy, of creating whatever specific thing you're working to create. Really support you in aligning with that intention and aligning with the energy of that intention. You can create a movement ritual. So maybe you carry the crystals with you, or you hold them in your hands and you move the body with those crystals. So you've got the energy of the crystals and you've got the movement of the body, which can open up your energetic field to have that creativity flow into it. So that can be a very powerful practice. You could place these crystals under your pillow or on your nightstand by your bed while you're sleeping. This can support opening up those energetic channels as you sleep. Little work on your part, right? As you sleep, opening up to tap into that creativity. Also, when we sleep, we connect into our subconscious. So a really great practice is to potentially set these crystals under your pillow or next to your bed, and then waking up like 10 to 30 minutes before you would normally wake up with a notebook next to your bed and just starting to write when you wake up, right? Because you're connected into your subconscious mind. So you get to kind of write down what's coming through you subconsciously. And that can be a great way to tap into that creative flow, that creative energy. Set it up, the crystals, in your workspace or near a workspace, right? If it's your desk that you work at, or if you have somewhere you work, you write, you create. If your space is in the kitchen and you're creating meals, or in the garden and you're gardening, you're creating this beautiful garden, placing the crystals near that space or in your work bag where your tools are, where you're constantly pulling your tools out, like having them near you when you're in that space of creation. Really great to pair these crystals with essential oils and kind of harness the magic of both crystals and essential oils. You can use it in chips, in points, in stones that you drop into roller bottles, or pairing it with, holding a stone and using the essential oils. I know Cynthia has a roller bottle blend for you. So Cynthia, what is it?
Well, the Creative Essential Oil Blend. Now this one's for a 10 ml bottle, your standard roller bottle. You can certainly cut it down if you've got a 5 ml bottle. But for a 10 ml bottle, you're going to use 6 drops of wild orange, which is kind of uplifting. It sparks that joy and inspiration. 5 drops of bergamot, which eases self-doubt. And it helps open the minds to new ideas. 4 drops of lavender. We've talked about that. Lavender is sort of like amethyst. It calms that mental chatter and encourages the creative flow. 3 drops of frankincense deepens your intuition and your focus. And 2 drops of peppermint, which is very refreshing for the mind, and it sharpens your clarity. So you would put those in the bottle first, and then fill the remainder of the bottle with carrier oil of your choice. Sweet almond and jojoba are both very good for the skin. If this is something you think you might only use occasionally, then you might want to consider coconut oil, which is a good one regardless. Just coconut oil has a much longer shelf life than either one of the other two. Or you might have a favorite of your own, but that's it. Then just put it on pulse points or wherever you're called to use it in moments where you'd like some creative inspiration, or you're working with your crystals.
Absolutely. And if you want to add some crystal chips to that essential oil blend, or a gemstone roller ball top, we've got them all at ewbms.com. Plus, we have that kit of creativity crystals with the crystals that Cynthia mentioned earlier, already set up for you to get that whole set to create your crystal grids, to carry with you, to use in meditation, to bring that creative flow, that creative energy into your world. So ewbms.com for all those fun sets and different crystal products for you. We will be back here next week with another Crystal Talks video. Hit subscribe so you don't miss us. And until then, take care.